reason why it's so important is because we mentioned the 7 days in between Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur are influencing the entire year. Right? Think about it this way. Let's say you want to fly. You want to go on an airline that's going to take you to a place that you've never been before. It's going to take you to your ultimate destiny. Okay? That airline is called Rosh Hashana Yom Kippur Airlines. Okay? There's a rule. You want to get on this airline, there's a baggage limit. Right? We got bags of jealousy hanging on with us. We got bags of evil speech. We got bags of flaking on people that we all do. No one understands about people flaking. We got all kinds of baggage of things that we've accumulated during the past year. And guess what? We want to step on that plane. We have too much baggage, and we're not going to be able to fly. The month of Virgo, the 6 days that we have left, the days of Rosh Hashana and Kippur is the time to be able to remove all that spiritual baggage. So when we want to fly, we can really fly and get to where we want to go. That's the way, this is the kind of framework that we should all have. Why? Because generally most people tend to go through this time of year, oh, you know, holidays, what do you think for the high holidays? I don't know, maybe my family or this and that. And it becomes a drag, and you know, maybe it might be a family tradition, and it doesn't have that meaning or purpose. If we have these explanations in mind, we can see that it's not just another tradition, it's not just a bunch of days that were picked out of a hat by a bunch of rabbis to punish us and, you know, make us all go to the hotels. Maybe the hotel industry all got together and said, let's have a day where we put people in hotels and we can charge them. No, there's a system in place. There's a mechanism, almost a technology, if you will, that if we follow the technology, it allows us to connect to what we want. And it seems very detailed, but imagine if you want to go to a website and you want to download that amazing, whatever it is, you want to download a video, a song, you got to enter the right buttons on the keyboard, you got to enter the right address, or you're not going to get what you want. These tools, these days, the prayers, the shofar, are like our spiritual keyboard that are allowing us to have the right password to get exactly what we want out of the coming year. Okay? Now, there's something very powerful that happens in this shaping stage, right? Between Rosh Hashana and Kippur, there's a prayer that we say called Avinu Malkeinu. And we happen to say it on this day, and we say it on the 7 days in between. What's the concept of Avinu Malkeinu? Avinu in Hebrew means our father. Malkeinu means our king. What's the difference between a father and a king? A king operates based on justice and loyalty, traditionally, right? If you're loyal to the king will take care of you. If you're not loyal to the king, off with your head, right? A father, on the other hand, a father, traditionally, hopefully, will give you the benefit of the doubt and will treat you with compassion and kindness even when you've been naughty, so to speak, right? Now, if we're reading the prayer of Avinu Malkeinu, prior to this class, I would imagine many of us are just sort of reading it, or we're sitting in temple. By this time, we're all bored. You know, it's Yom Kippur, we're fasting. Avinu Malkeinu, all right, when is any have to hit the right book? When can I eat? What time is it, right? Now, it's not about when can I finish eating, when are the prayers done. We're doing something amazingly powerful with the prayer of Avinu Malkeinu. What are we doing? Our Father, our King. The King, we said, gives you justice or punishment, whether when you deserve it. The Father gives it to you out of kindness, out of mercy, right? We have the ability to connect to God in both ways. God can be our Father at one point, or He can be our King at another point. We don't want God to be our King, because if He's our King, we only get what we want based on the merit of what we've done. If we deserve it, we get it. If we don't deserve it, we don't get what we want. We'd rather have God be our Father, right? How do you make God your Father? Treat everyone around you like a brother and a sister, and God becomes your Father. Treat everyone around you as you do for me, so I'll do for you. Hey, you didn't help me, I'm not going to help you. Good tit for tat, God is your King. Very simple. Our actions literally control the way that God relates to us. So if we want to be able to receive, if we want to ask for all those amazing things during the year, and we don't deserve it, because we treated people like our brother and our sister, guess what? God is now our Father, and He gives it to us because a father, a good father, gives in the right way. Whereas a king will only give you what you deserve. So there are two ways to make God your father. One is by acting and treat people like a brother or sister. Another way is through the prayer, Avinu Malkeinu, during these days. Right? So hopefully that's another dimension that we can add to what we're doing, so we're not just sort of counting down minutes until we can eat dinner. When we can get out of here and go have a little hastagar after the Rosh Hashana prayer. Now, like we said, one of the things that we're trying to achieve tonight is to have meaning in what all the holidays are, and that they're not just some, random tradition that, has sort of arbitrary. But we're trying to see what is the meaning. How does everything fit together? And there's a very powerful tool that we use, and of course that's the shofar. The shofar is not just about, it's a nice trumpet, it sounds good, reminds me of my childhood, why don't I just have someone whistle instead, maybe the same kind of sound, right? There's something unique about the shofar. First of all, the shofar is made out of a ram's horn, and the ram is actually the animal that was sacrificed in place of Isaac. We all know the story of Abraham growing up and binding Isaac and sacrificing him. At the moment that Abraham wanted to sacrifice Isaac, angels came to him and they replaced Isaac with a ram instead. And the ram took the sacrifice. The ram took the place of the judgment that was supposed to come. So on one level, the ram is an instrument that replaces judgment with mercy. Right? Because at that point, the ram took the punishment for Isaac. Another thing about the ram, about the shofar that's important, is that even the shape of it matters. If you notice the shape, it starts out small and it expands. What's the significance of that? We know that if we want to be able to maximize the holidays of Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur, we need to be able to come in with a pure heart. There's a teaching that says that whoever comes to Rosh Hashana as a poor person or with the mentality that they're poor will end the year as if they're rich spiritually. What does that mean? That means that if I come in half-hearted thinking, you know what, I don't really need to be here, things are fine. You know what, it's great to appreciate what you have out of life. It's always great to be content with what you have. But if we come in on these days without wanting it all, without asking and craving for everything and begging as if I have nothing, give me everything, to the extent that our desires and our thoughts are large, to the extent that we feel as I have nothing, give it to me, to that extent is what we'll be able to receive during the year. So the shofar is a tool that allows us to start off small, be poor in the year, and end rich. That's why it ends bigger than it starts. That's the shofar. There's a lot of symbolism and meaning behind the shofar. Some people, anyone here have an iPhone? It's got to be someone more than one person with an iPhone. There's an application on the iPhone called Shofar, right? You press the button and it plays a shofar sound for you. Tekiah and whatever it is, right? So, if there's something special about the ram's horn, something special about the material, the way it's shaped, now we know it's not just about having a nice tradition, right? Because or else you can have a little iPhone at the temple, press the button, and it'll replicate it, right? It's not about having an iPhone and shofar. It's a powerful spiritual weapon that we're activating here. And there's another amazing secret that's comes from the Zohar as well, about the shofar. The shofar, we blow it 100 times, and there's one final long blow, which is 101. 101 happens to be the numerical value of Gabriel. In Hebrew, whenever anything has, those of you who know or don't know, whenever two things have the same numerical value, it means there's an inherent connection between the two. What's the idea of having Gabriel? Gabriel is the angel of mercy. So when we're blowing that trumpet 101 times, we're connecting to the power of Gabriel. What's Gabriel? It's the angel of mercy, which means that if you're in court and you're being judged, you're inviting Gabriel. It's like having a spiritual Johnny Cochran, a spiritual Robert Shapiro, all the best attorneys mixed into one, defending you. And you're going to want that help. You're going to want that help because, we all have things that we want, skeletons in the closet we want to clear out.